Hi, guys, it's Claire Whitfield, and this is Wedding Report. Today on Wedding Report, we're looking at the only 5 things wedding guests actually remember from your reception. And I promise your calligraphy budget didn't make the list. You could spend months deciding if your napkins are ivory or eggshell, and your guests genuinely will not notice. They'll forget it before they're back in the car. Whether you're at a grand ballroom or a backyard wedding, we went through wedding forums, planner interviews, public guest reviews, comment sections, all of it, trying to figure out what actually sticks with people after a wedding is over. And the same 5 things kept coming up over and over, and none of them were on anybody's mood board. First one's the food, and it doesn't need to be fancy. Caterer Maureen Sato has been doing weddings for 20 years, and she says the biggest complaint she hears isn't about the menu. It's that the food was cold by the time it hit the table. People will forgive a simple meal, but they will not forgive a cold plate. On one wedding shaming forum, a guest described driving nearly 6 hours to a destination wedding, only to find cocktail hour was just chips and a single bowl of salsa, gone within minutes. By the time dinner rolled around, they said they were starving by the end of the night. One couple spent $6,000 on a raw bar that sat outside in the July heat for 2 hours before cocktail hour even started, and almost nobody touched it. What people remembered wasn't the oysters, it was being hungry. Second thing is the music, or really just the energy in the room, because nobody's grading your playlist. What sticks is whether the dance floor actually had momentum. There's a DJ out of Ohio named Chris Reyes who calls this the 11-minute rule. If the floor sits empty for more than 11 minutes, it almost never comes back to life. People sit down and they stay down. And the wild part is, it's never about the setup, not even the first dance song selection. Some weddings have a full live band and a completely dead room, and some have one guy with a laptop and a couple string lights, and that's the one where nobody sits down until midnight. It's not the money, it's the pacing. Third thing, and this is the one people always underestimate, is how smoothly your wedding timeline actually flows, especially that stretch right after the ceremony when the wedding party disappears for photos and everyone else is just standing around with nothing to do. A planner named Jamie Wolfer has talked about this exact gap being where guests start losing patience faster than at any other point in the day. 90 minutes is fine if people have a drink in their hand and somewhere to sit. But 90 minutes of standing around with nothing is where people start checking the time. And it's not just about the wait. It's about being told one thing and getting another. One widely discussed AITA thread involved guests upset that a cocktail hour turned out to have no alcohol at all, with one commenter calling it out directly. A cocktail hour without cocktails is a lie. Whatever you promise on the invitation, guests remember when reality doesn't match it. Fourth thing is the two of you, specifically whether you actually looked like you were enjoying your own wedding instead of just performing for the camera. A photographer named Priya Patel says she can usually tell within the first 20 minutes whether a couple is going to look relaxed in their photos or completely wiped out. And it has almost nothing to do with the budget. What it usually comes down to is whether the couple took even 15 minutes to sit and eat together before the toast started. Skip that, and by hour 3, you can see it on their faces. Guests notice even when they don't say anything about it. And the fifth thing, which kind of ties the rest together, is whether guests felt like somebody had things handled, not spoiled, just looked after. Did someone tell them where to park? Did the one guest who doesn't know anybody get seated next to a familiar face instead of a stranger? A coordinator we talked to in Minnesota, Sarah Demby, said guests will forgive almost any design decision, but they'll remember for years the wedding where nobody seemed to know what was happening next. Confusion is the one thing that never comes across as charming. And here's the thing about your wedding budget. None of this is expensive. A hot meal served on time costs the same as a cold one served late. A DJ who reads the room costs the same as one who doesn't. 15 minutes for the couple to eat together costs nothing at all. Even a printed sign that says cocktail hour starts here probably costs about $4. So that's it, 5 things. From the moment they watch you walk down the aisle to the moment they drive home, guests remember these 5 things: good food, a room with energy, a wedding timeline that keeps moving, a couple that actually looks like they're having fun, and guests who feel taken care of. Everything else, all the stuff people agonize over, tends to be the one thing nobody else even notices. If you're planning a wedding right now, drop the thing you're most stressed about in the comments. I might cover it in a future episode. And if this saved you from obsessing over napkin colors, hit subscribe, because Wedding Report comes out every week.